Okay, boys, we have another 2 a.m. trade, or basically 3 a.m. at this point because we were waiting for a while. James Harden is going to the Clippers. Philly has decided, you know what, man, we're good on this whole situation as Tyrese Maxey lights the world on fire. Marcus Morris, Nick Batum, Robert Covington, KJ Martin, what is it, 2028 unprotected, which that's a pretty decently big deal if you're the Clippers to send that pick out. I mean, that's basically them saying, you know what, we've already put in enough future picks into this team. Screw it, we're going to do another one. They're also routing the Sixers an additional future first from a third team. Okay, so Marcus Morris, I mean, Clipper fans were pretty much done with him last year, so I think that gives you a preview of what I imagine you're going to be seeing of Marcus Morris in Philly, which is he's probably not going to play a huge role. If he could play defense and make shots, that'd be great, but I don't know anymore. Nick Batum, I mean, look, Batum, he is, of course, a reliable role player. I understand he's a couple years older now from like a few years ago when he was like kind of amazing as a help defender. I mean, as good as he could be, pretty much given his size and everything. Him and Covington, like those are good rotation pieces who can defend and shoot. I mean, obviously with Covington, he's a better team defender than he is one-on-one defender. KJ Martin, if you can get him screening for like Maxi or whatever, or cutting off of Embiid, post ups and all that, like okay, I think the most of the guys the Sixers got in this move can play in their rotation. PJ Tucker's going out, and I mean, Tucker was mostly play defense, stand in the corner. But look, for Philly, I guess they just didn't want to wait until the deadline. They didn't want to do that whole thing. And I mean, who knows what else they could have gotten? Like, could they have gotten a like one player who's just better than all these guys who gives them like another shot creator in the whole thing? I mean, if this was the market they had, and if the Clippers were the only team attached for Harden, which obviously they were based on everything we heard, then maybe this was just the best they were going to do. I don't. You can never tell the future. And what was the thing that Daryl Morey said? Like, if he wants to move Harden, he wants to do it for the stuff that can get him a star. And that 2028 first from the Clippers is very interesting. And, you know, if Morey's going to try to reroute that somewhere, and, you know, he did just acquire a bunch of guys who could potentially be thrown into the deals. The big Tobias Harris contract is still there. Like, I would not be surprised. I mean, obviously, we're not going to know this until a few months from now, but I would not be surprised if Philly ends up making a move at the deadline. Now, as far as who's going to be available, whatever, I don't know, but that 2028 pick is certainly something. On to the Clippers with James Harden. So, what is our starting lineup? Obviously, Harden, PG, Kawhi, and Zubats are starting. I guess at that point, you're asking, is it Terrence Mann? Is it Westbrook? Because, I mean, through this season so far, Westbrook and Covington were the other starters for them, right? And, you know, there have been some interesting things with the Clippers so far where, like, PG's touches per game are decently down from what they were the past couple years. He's in like the 50s this year. He was in the 70s the past couple years. But at the same time, PG's scoring so far this season has been fantastic. Kawhi is still awesome. Obviously, the health stuff is always the, you know, thing looming over this team. Harden can step in, and yeah, you imagine he's going to lead the team in touches. You imagine that you are going to hope to see just enough of like Kawhi or PG screening for him to where you have some connectivity between your star players. Teams will probably try to switch that sort of thing. Obviously, he's going to get screens from like Zubats or Plumlee. I mean, obviously Zubats, and we'll see if Plumlee ends up playing with him. And yeah, I mean, Harden's going to make the reads. He's going to make all the reads you expect him to make. He can kick out to PG and Kawhi. He can throw it to Powell or Terrence Mann, and they can get their, you know, catch and drive on, which, you know, to me has always been pretty important with these guys, getting those extra shots at the rim. Now, to be clear, Kawhi and PG are still going to have the ball a lot, and we have to talk about off-ball James Harden too. And then you have Westbrook, where, I mean, obviously the hope there is going to be, can you convert enough catch and drives off of, you know, if Harden is kicking out to you, can you shoot well enough, at least from the corners? I mean, you know, hell, I mean, Bones Highland has been able to cook a bit for this team so far. So his role in the team is going to get a little shuffled around here because, you know, just a lot of those possessions, a lot of those shots are going to go to Harden, right? But look, Kawhi and PG, they want to operate in the mid-range. They want to operate in ISOs and pick and rolls themselves. And so Harden is going to have to play off of these guys some, and he's going to have to be willing to take his catch and shoots, which I think he was warming up with more in Philly, like towards the end there, even if, of course, the exit to the Celtics was still pretty damn ugly. I do think we will see what the pace of this Clippers team is. You know, PG, Kawhi, and Harden are all pretty methodical with the way they do it, which is why I also think like someone like Terrence Mann and Westbrook, who guys who can push the pace, and something Powell, who also likes to get downhill, those guys remain important for this team. As far as the defense, I mean, Harden, he does like a switching defense that doesn't have him as heavy in rotation and all that, and I mean, we'll see. Like, yes, the Clippers are obviously switchable with their wings. Granted, they just moved a decent amount of those wings in this deal. They got the best player in the deal as well. But, like, you know, Kawhi and PG can still switch defensively. You know, the Clippers might also view this a bit as a, you know, an injury insurance thing where they can get through the regular season a little bit easier if, with Kawhi and PG potentially missing games. I mean, what else? I mean, I guess you got to think about the contract situation with Harden now. I mean, he's got a 1-year deal, and I mean, we know what the James Harden thing has been for a minute now. It's, I don't know. At this point, can we even say unpredictable or like predictably unpredictable, if that makes sense? We're like, we know something weird's going to happen, but we don't know exactly the details of it. I don't know. Maybe you just give Harden the chance to have that not happen again, but I don't know. It just feels like something weird's inevitably going to happen with James Harden all the time. I don't. Maybe he just agrees to an extension after the year and everything's kind of kosher. And I don't know, man. I don't know. It's 3 a.m. To go back to Philly real quick, I mean, as far as how Embiid feels about this, I mean, based on everything we've heard, which I mean, I don't know if we've heard it from Embiid directly. If we have, my bad, I missed it. But the temperature seems decent enough in Philly. I mean, again, like what they got back, that 2028 pick is definitely like a good asset. I know that, but yeah,